Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 4 of my Clockwork Empires Revision 40 playthrough. My name is Alfred. This is a thing I do about once a month when a new stable release hits the live branch. Clockwork Empires is a game in early release, currently being developed by the good folks at Gaslamp Games. By the way, part 4 is a really bad place to start in a series, so I would suggest you perhaps consider part 1. And I just have a notification that the chapel was constructed. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so the walls in the chapel were built, but the altar is not built, and I don't need to assign an overseer there yet, but I will eventually. Another bandit notification. Let's hope for peace in our time. Oh my gosh, and another notification. Novo-Russian troops, our allies, they're passing through from over here. Oh, look at their fancy green uniforms and furry hats. So they're, oh, this is kind of weird. This is what happens when we reach the edge of the map. Anyhow, back to the colony. So, colony's well underway. We're in no danger of starving, or the population is relatively sane. Multiple projects are in progress. We've got a mine in a good location. It's producing all sorts of ore. I'm actually considering building another one over here because I do also need malachite. And the metalworks has, well, again, they've built the walls, but none of the modules, so I don't need to bother installing anyone in there yet. So, I'm going to let this run for a little bit, and we'll come back in a bit. What I really want to do is find some Obeliskians this time. That's just more fun stuff, and some of the cool new stuff. Yeah, why not? Let's build a mine here as well. Go to buildings, mine. So it should be sufficient to mine the resources. It should be sufficient to simply build a mine shaft near the appropriate surface node. Because the land around an apparent surface node will yield up resources of the type revealed. Now naturalists will visit these little, see these little yellow darts, and tell you definitively what that terrain, what a mine shaft in that vicinity will build. That's all we need for a mine shaft, I believe. Now, when there are visible surface nodes, the result is apparent, but naturalists will also explore areas where no ore is readily apparent, like here, and that tells us we'll build coal. A mine shaft here will produce coal, for instance. So there we go. So, got some buildings underway. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Alright, so here we are. It's day 20. Yeah, I've jumped ahead quite a bit. I've expanded in pretty much every direction. I've deforested the surrounding countryside. I've built a whole bunch of stuff. The colony has been growing. It's all going like gangbusters. I built a working distillery, which is pumping out beer and whiskey non-stop, which gets consumed immediately. Same with the kitchen. It's just going full blast, cooking like cabbage stews and stuff, which gets eaten immediately, which says to me, in both of those cases, it might be appropriate to assign more colonists to those workshops. The metalworks is going great. It's been making all sorts of, you can see I have a great surplus of ores and things, and it's been making tubes and pipes and made some guns. Basically the colony it's pretty much stable at this point. Oh, look at this. I forgot to install a door in this. That guy will be trapped forever. Right, anyway. That's the beginnings of my upper class mansion. I also built a middle class house to house primarily to put in middle-class beds, which will make my middle-class overseers happier. They get grumpy if they have to sleep in the cots, because that's lower-class bedding. It's beneath their station. The thing about these beds is that they're quadruple the price of the regular cots, so you don't build them until later in the game, right? In the upper-class mansion, they're even more expensive. Those beds need you to have like gold ingots, which I don't actually have yet. Anyway, so at this point, there's not a lot more I can show you. I mean, I guess I could build the lab and maybe the chemists, but there's not really much need. What I was hoping to be able to show you guys was the Obeliskian Horrors, but as you can see, I've done a whole lot of exploring, literally not literally, everywhere on the map, and I haven't found any of those craggy ruins made of mysterious black rock. And because the colony's running so well, nobody's felt the need to start a cult. So I'm going to end this session here. I think I've given you a pretty good feel for how the game plays. I'm going to revisit this. So the series isn't done yet, though. I'm going to restart on a new map. I'm going to play differently, and cross your fingers, I'm hoping I can find some Obeliskian ruins. So, say goodbye to our colony in New Antipodia. After the cut, we are going to the jungle. So here we are. I've restarted colony in the jungle biome. I'm just a little bit in, just establishing the main buildings. But the most exciting thing is this right here. Check it out. Mysterious black ruins. Dark stone blocks. Gold. There's exposed gold on the surface here. I believe you can awaken the Obeliskian terrors simply by hanging around here, just by having people nearby, but I've also heard that to awaken them you must build a mine nearby. So I don't know which is which, but I'm going to build a mine right here, because I want that gold. I want that gold, and I want that malachite, and maybe I want the Obeliskian Horror to ravage my jungle colony. So good news, I've finally spawned a map in which there are mysterious ruins. So I've gone ahead and decided that relationships with fish people should be hostile on this map. So I actually had a wave of fish people attack, and now I have a bunch of raw fish person steak. So that's 2 problems solved. One thing I will point out, though, is if we go back to the gold and malachite outcropping here, in the Fog of War, the Fog of War will display geographic details or terrain detail. And night just fell. Yeah, Fog of War will show geographic features, but will hide living creatures, so like animals and soldiers and fish people and things. So if we look at this site, and now it's super dark, so it's hard to see, but in the Fog of War, the giant black obelisk is invisible, even though the mysterious black stone blocks are still visible, which says to me the obelisk is a creature. It's not just an architectural feature. Just something to keep in mind. So I've marked out an area for a mine right here by the mysterious rocky outcropping. Now if we look in the bottom right here, we'll see, actually let's deal with this bandit for a sec, let's leave them alone. So this mine shaft will produce, the output of this mine shaft is dependent on the presence of ores in the area. So this one will produce gold, 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 stone, and clay. Curiously, it's not producing malachite. Fair enough. But at least we can test the assertion that Obeliskians are awakened by mining activities or the presence of people. And actually, what do I need in terms of a favor? I could definitely use more workers. There we go, and they get automatically assigned in as even a manner as possible to fill out the work crews. Now I'm just going to keep an eye on, what is that? That's not a log. That's a curiously regular stone block. Cubic, one might say. And curiouser and curiouser. Look at the fine workmanship on this obelisk. The regular geometric patterns suggest highly organized, one might say a society well versed in math. Oh, another one of these regular cubic stone blocks. Here we are, the night of day 8, and our old friends, the Deathworms, are back. See that pink? Okay, this is a bad camera angle. Here we are. Here's the corpse of a Deathworm. Yes, our old friends, the slimy pink horrors, are back. So my thoughts on Deathworms. They were making the initial setup of the game super hard, which actually I didn't mind, because you can control how hard your game is by picking maybe a different biome. But I can see that they might ruin the early games of someone attempting a jungle biome, and then their only alternative would maybe to have been restart a colony in a new location on that biome. So I appreciate that some balance passes were made. However, now that Deathworms are quite rare, you can't rely on them as a source of food anymore, which is something I used to do. If you can survive the initial Deathworm onslaught, you can chop them up for steaks. And of course, being a meat product, steaks actually got cooked into, I should say raw steak gets cooked into 3 cooked steaks, which is a great source of food very early in the game. Without the Deathworm onslaught, I actually had to plant a corn crop here, which actually, it's in a pretty sorry state because Fishman came and trampled all my maize. But I was able to make do. I mean, there are coconuts and there's a bunch of fungus, and I found a bunch of dodo. Or not dodo, jungle fowl. So I've got enough food for now. But the way it used to be, if you could survive the Deathworms, you could then eat the Deathworms. Fine for now. The mine building is complete. Now to mine, and hopefully wake up this horror. Mrs. Badger, you're assigned here. Although, of course, no actual mining will be done until the module is complete. A bandit wishes to join. Sure, come join us. Zelly Buccaneer. Isn't that the single bandit who tried to attack us earlier? Oh, and a new bandit. Wow, there are a lot of bandits on this map. Well, let's leave them alone. The philosophy I'm taking on this map is can be summed up as humans first. So I've taken a hostile attitude toward the Fishmen. I'm going to shoot them on sight. Bandits, I'll leave them alone, although I will shoot them if they try to rob me, but if they want to join our colony, they are more than welcome. And the lower class bunkhouse looks like a popular place to hang out. Nellie Patterburn is not very happy. Let's look into her brain. So she's the NCO of one of my 2 military squads. This being the jungle biome, you start off with 5 colonists and 2 NCOs versus the 6 and 1 of the temperate biome. Nellie is, oh my goodness, she's been hurt, I think during the large Fishman raid earlier. She's made an enemy with Zelma Ironburn. Oh, she's lazy, likes hunting, and has military training. Her morale is shaky. That's unfortunate. Well, okay, so it's better than nothing. Oh, she's found a deathworm. Now the problem with morale and your soldiers is that early on, the soldiers you have the longest will tend to accumulate the most wounds. And when a soldier accumulates enough wounds, it will actually break their morale. They will become cowards and not fight anymore. Or their reaction to everything will be to run away and try and save their lives, which makes them useless as soldiers. Which means you might have to retire them to the civilian life and more actively recruit more military through prestige favors. And this problem is exacerbated on maps with a lot of enemies, like the jungle, which has Fishmen and bandits and deathworms. So you can mitigate some of that by, say, taking a peaceful approach with the Fishmen and the bandits. You can never negotiate with the deathworms. Or you can just let things play out as they will. There are... Oh, here's Zelly Buccaneer, who joined the crew. Huh. And one of the bandits has broken our earlier truce. Oh, he's left us a note. No more deal. That's fine. Just stay away from us. We'll get 3 more workers. Let's make sure they are assigned. So, as I was saying regarding soldiers and morale, a soldier and to a larger extent any citizen who's suffering, whose morale is broken basically because they've taken too many wounds or they've seen too many things that drive them insane, won't be a very effective fighter, right? Which is okay for your colonists. I mean, they'll still be good workers, but it's terrible for soldiers because that's literally their only job. What we can do to remedy this? So there are a number of ways you can remedy this. Now, alcohol will cause them to selectively, or not selectively, to randomly forget things in their memory. Typically bad memories. They will be blanked out for some period of time. And that's why when you look at some of the colonists, they have gaps in their memories. Like we look at Beatrice here. I mean, she's one of our new immigrants, so she, in this case, she doesn't have enough memories to fill up the entire list here. But this is also the effect of drinking, which is to say some memories just disappear. And that means those memories aren't currently affecting their personality, which means they won't remember being hungry or the memories of being hungry, scared, or insane will not affect them as strongly. So that's booze, but there's also sulfur tonics, which is like in the mid-1800s, the equivalent of medicine. Right? It's medicine in a bottle. Laudanum, opium, sulfur tonics. Those are all considered medicinal, although some are also considered illicit drugs and have horribly addictive side effects. Those can help influence a colonist's personality and memories, and in the case of sulfur tonics, I believe it may actually relieve some of their wounds. Oh, Fishman attack. Here we have a Fishman leader. We can tell because he's wearing a helmet or hat. I don't know how much his giant sea snail helmet is protecting his head, but there you go. I hope Herbert hasn't taken too many wounds here. No, he's actually doing okay. Oh, here we have an example of a colonist for whom laudanum is a drawback. Like, it will have its soothing, normal soothing effects on him, but he will want to drink it all the time. So I'm not quite sure how this happened, but one of my colonists has gone completely insane. Abigail Chawleathers. Now she's a miner, but the thing is, the mine shaft isn't built, so she hasn't actually done any mining. Um, I mean, she's had horrible visions and run-ins with Fishmen, and is humbled by the infinite terror of the unimaginable and malign vastness of the cosmos. I guess that might do it. Yeah, her mental state is, she has pretty much cracked, all told. Well, that's unfortunate. We'll see what happens when she goes mining in the pit, right beside the sleeping Obeliskian terror. Oh, and by the way, this may or may not be related, but I believe she was the one who dug up this geometer canopic jar. So maybe that was a contributing factor as well. A mysterious artifact of mysterious and eldritch origin, which can be researched at a laboratory. And also, I am under bandit attack. Shoot on sight. Hey, that's my stew. Also, now the question of, oh, what's going on here? The question of bandits. We will bury the bandits because they're human. What is going on? One of my overseers died. How did she die? Grievous lacerations? Which means one of my work parties has no overseer. What is going on? Oh, a death worm. Okay. So I've got a number of colonists with no overseer now. Let's see. Was she the overseer of the carpentry? No. Was she the overseer of the kitchen? No. The ceramics workshop isn't even complete. Nobody oversees the bunkhouse. And she was not the overseer of the mine, so that's fine. Well, it's not fine. She was killed by a worm the size of a small dog, but I don't have to reassign my workforce. Is it just me, or is this corn gigantic? I do not remember corn being this big. Like, when I think about stalks of corn I've seen in real life, they only come to like eye level maximum, right? This corn is huge. It's like 10 feet tall. Is that new, or were they always that tall? Ooh, the mine shaft is done. And, well, nobody's currently mining. So, Victoria, Drusilla Pendleburn has dug up some gold. Look at that huge lump of gold, bringing it back to town. And our other insane miner, Abigail, is going back to the mine. These mysterious stone carvings still show no indication of life. Oh no, Abigail just came here to sleep. Oh, that's not very exciting. Okay, well, unfortunately I think I'm going to have to end this here. I mean, we've been mining here non-stop, and we've dug up a whole bunch of gold and mostly clay. No sign of stirring from the Obeliskians. So, I don't... Who knows? Who knows what motivates a tentacled horror from beyond time and space, right? So I think this will wrap up my look at Revision 40. The game's in pretty good shape, I have to say. There are minor, maybe performance issues once you start getting up into the upper numbers of colonists, but the game's currently in development, right? So new stuff is coming in and out all the time, and optimization is generally later in the development cycle. That said, the game has seen little bits of optimization here and there. Um, it could certainly use some more at this point, just because so much new stuff has gone in recently. But yeah, that's how the game is at present. I hope I've been able to demonstrate the feel of the game, and maybe it's something you might be interested in playing. I happen to play it all the time, which is why I make these videos, make these endless videos. Um, the game is Clockwork Empires. Current version is 40. My name is Alfred. Clockwork Empires is in early access, so it's still in development, although you can purchase it if you're interested in the development process. Well, I hope you have found these videos informative. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time there's a major revision.